Is Habibie truly a clean guy? So, the popular common notion is that Habibie is this friendly, lovely, good natured, smart man, smart old guy, and all he loved was planes and the betterment of the Republic of Indonesia and its people. And you often see popular media supporting this notion, and you often see posts on social media, on like Instagram and stuff, idolizing him. I wouldn't say idolizing. It's just, one of those posts where imagine if he was the president of Indonesia and the vice president was this, and imagine if the minister of this was this. Basically, everyone's thinking that he was a bombastic president. But do you ever think why? Why is he viewed as this way? Even when you think about who he is tied to and how he got power in the first place. Habibie is the prodigy of Suharto. Habibie was groomed to be the continuation of Suharto, his successor. He was brought back from Germany for the specific purpose of this, and the person who brought him back was Ibnu Sutowo. You may have heard his name. He was the star of Pertamina. He was the star of the oil and gas company that was in Indonesia at the time, was doing astronomical amounts of corruption, because that was indeed its purpose. It was a tool to gather, what you say, a sort of tool to gather fresh money that wasn't in the books, in the official accounting books of the state, for the purposes of handling the nation, or handling the actors in the nation for Suharto. So basically Suharto, hey Ibnu, go fetch this guy from Germany. And indeed he fetched Habibie, and Habibie came back. And Habibie was also a kind of a symbol of the Muslim inclusion into the Suharto regime. By then, it was around the 1990s, and Suharto is getting old. Are you hearing this? Suharto is getting old, and people were already starting to speculate who would succeed him. What's next after Suharto? What's gonna happen next? And the answer would come to threaten many people, whatever the answer might be. The general notion was that the army was starting to distance itself from Suharto. We all know that the army was the power base of Suharto. This is where he first got his power in the 1965, and he built his power around the army and coupling them with Chinese businessmen. And from these couples and managing them, he made his strata of his power base. He created a layer of oligarchs on top of the society. He created an upper class out of nothing, really. He created an upper class out of nothing from these military and Chinese businessmen couples. And he managed them in a way that he is at the center and at the top of the pyramid, and that everyone was facing him on top. So, as time went by, the army started to sort of gain a consciousness. It does say that, like Benny Murdani, which is one of the big guys in the army. He was from the intelligence. He was also the right man hand of Suharto in the past, and like in the 1980s. But then he became one of the figures who were like, yeah, we do not plan to take leadership from Suharto. We do not plan to cause a change in the government. But the army also wants to be sort of an independent thing. They want to stop being meddled by Suharto. They want their own say. And this was kind of unforgivable to Suharto, isn't it? Wasn't it? Because this is almost a kind of attack on the pyramid, that everything was pointing at Suharto. It's like an own independent power source. So what Suharto did was he started to remove these military officials who were advocating for the independence of the military from the important posts. Like, he put Benny Mordani in, like, he was formerly the chief of staff of some department that was important. He distributed him somewhere else, in positions that were far from as powerful as before. And, well, if you put them somewhere else, well, you need someone else to support you, don't you? So who fills the gap? And Suharto continued the effort by the party, Golkar. He distanced the military from Golkar, and he put a civilian as its leader. And stuff like that. But who would be his new supporters? Who would be his new base of power? He turned to the Muslims. So previously, the people were treated as the greatest danger. This is a direct opposite of the 1945 era, where the people were the power of Indonesia. Now people were the danger. Any form of people mobilizing political power or mobilizing political sentiment of their own, or any form of the people organizing at all, really, were a source of danger, source of communism, a source of something that needs to be prevented by the military, and therefore the military must exist. This is the reason, the justification of the military regime, that the people need to be guarded from themselves or something. Not or something. It's just, the statement is limited by my knowledge. So what Suharto did, he was thoroughly depoliticizing the people. The people were now as I understand, made to be as far from the political side of the country as possible. They were just docile followers. And the enactors of the government were, of course, in the bureaucracy and mostly the military and in the party, not in the people. Do you get me? So, organizations were banned from having any other ideology than the Panchasila. The Panchasila. For example, you cannot have an organization with Islam as a main ideology. Obviously, you cannot do so with communism, nor with any other ideology. I don't know. I haven't seen an example for any other ideology yet. Maybe some other than religion, it would be like parties like equality or liberalism, stuff like that. The only ideology you could have was Panchasila. It was kind of used as a tool to stop the growth of any other ideology. Really, it was used as a tool for depoliticizing the people. Panchasila was. But then the time came where Suharto needed to distance himself from the military, or more like distance the military from the government. And he chose to re-politicize the people, at least by bringing Muslims into the government. He was doing that. So suddenly he went on the Hajj or the pilgrimage to Mecca. And you may or may not know that the true name of Suharto is Haji Muhammad Suharto, given by the king of Saudi at the time, his name. And then Habibie was made to form ICMI, which was an organization of Muslim intellectuals. Basically, so the spearhead of putting Muslim people into the government. Suddenly, you see names in the military like Faisal. I forgot their names. Faisal Tanjung. And then you see names like Akbar. You see names like you will see names that are obviously Muslim or really Arabic, of Arabic origin. And you will find this in contrast to the names previously in the army, like Sudomo, names like Agus, names like Umar. Umar is kind of Islamic here. Names like Tejo, Japanese names, or maybe Batak names, like Benny Murdani, Untung, Tri. And indeed, there is now a divide. There was the faction that created itself as like the military let's go independent faction. It was headed by people with links to Benny Murdani. And there was the main military that was filled with these ICMI Muslim positions. And Habibie was the spearhead of it all. And then Habibie was given the governing rights of Batam. Batam. You know, the island near to Singapore? And he ruled Batam like a personal fiefdom, like his kingdom, Habibie. So he would be given special governing rights in Batam, and then he started to put his family members on the board. You could see like his nephew getting the Minister of Maritime Affairs, which obviously these trade positions are hotspot for deals, and therefore a strategic place for getting money from contracts, really. Give contract to this guy, give contract to that guy, in exchange for some sort of money or some sort of privilege, benefit. And then in the aerospace, he was also given the responsibility of creating a bubble of some technology. Suharto had this vision of Indonesia having an advanced industry economy, not just some upstream economy, but also a downstream economy, a future economy. So we asked Habibie to make these, and evidently in Habibie's mind it was planes and ships. At that time, oil was coming off. Indonesia had an oil boom, and then it came off, and it put stress on the economy. At that time, it put stress on the economy and Suharto had to cut funding everywhere, basically. He put tariffs here, tariffs there, basically slowing down the economy, except to the sector that Habibie had responsibility towards. So he has a bubble, Habibie has. A bubble where his industry is free from tariffs and every other things. But it failed. You don't see planes now, do you? Simply, it was like that. You would see things like his son being made director suddenly, even though there was a clear hierarchy to go through for everyone else. Suddenly, his son was the director. He was getting promotions and promotions. And other family members, they were getting positions at the companies that regulated a lot of Batam's industry, like there were lots of firms which were executived. What's the verb? Which had executives of both Habibie family and the Suharto family, like Bambang and Habibie's son, which is in the sector of the Batam resort, if I'm not mistaken. Many of these. Obviously, you see that I don't remember all of this. You can just search it. Oh, what happened? Which is strange. You cannot search for Habibie corruption on Google. Google overview will just say that there's no evidence of Habibie corruption. Strange. And the articles that Google listed, no evidence of Habibie corruption, blah blah blah. Or at least no search results that show the corruption that Habibie has done in a study or anything else. Excuse me. I don't know, maybe. Well, Google is notorious for hiding results. I haven't done so in Brave or in DuckDuckGo or in Tor browser or Bing. So how about the argument of Habibie lowering the interest rate? Truth be told, I haven't found anything that pointed to him not doing that. He probably did do that. But I haven't seen anyone saying that he did that either. In the things I've read. What I mean is, no one has praised him, no one has put particular attention upon his efforts on lowering the interest rate right after the crisis. And most attention has been on his policies during the Suharto era as Minister of Technology and as Vice President. And mostly were ranging from critical to at least questioning his actions. But no comment has been found by me on his tenure as president. My guess is it was all evident that what he was doing was just implementing IMF instructions. You know, that the one that was signed by Suharto next to the IMF boss. You know the photo, you've seen it. My presumption is he just did that, whatever the IMF told him to, and it ended up working. And the interest rate went down. Which involved closing lots of projects. Many mega projects, which were obviously not really projects. It was just an avenue to extract money out of the state and keep it in their pockets. Most of the projects haven't even started yet. They don't mean to be started because they were never really projects. They were just meant to be extracting money from the state coffers. Like Pertamina is essentially. At that time, until now in 2025, it's still acting like that, isn't it, Pertamina? Pertamina isn't a Petronas. It's not a real company. It's a bad habit in doing this. I could get nerve damage. They look kind of thick. So what is the lesson? The lesson is that you should be careful with social media idolizing or just praising someone. I think this all came from Habibie and Aynun, who decided to create that movie. Aynun was also the head of a yayasan. I don't know what's that called in English. It's basically an organization that's not formal. And this yayasan was full of corruption. It was full of corruption. Also funding Habibie's stuff, probably. It was full of corruption, this thing. So I was also part of it. Who decided to create this movie and brainwash people into, it's some romantic story? Of course, is Habibie evil? Is Suharto evil? I think it's easy to just say they're evil. I think it's more like, wait a second, I'm trying to remember something. Have you read Catcher in the Rye? The one where he was about to to sleep in his teacher's house when he was in lots of problems. Not lots of problems. He was confused, and he ended up calling his teacher, and he was about to sleep, and he was very nice. The teacher was, but then out of nowhere, the teacher started rustling his hair while he was sleeping, and it was very creepy for him. I've also met people like that in real life. He is a good guy, but inside him is also a certain sense of creepiness, or like things that, in my mind, a good person wouldn't do. From the people who are connected to Suharto that I've ever met in real life, Suharto is a good person. A good person with good intentions. So, most likely, Suharto was living his life thinking that, in a sort of way, he was doing good for the country. And I'm sure Habibie was too. But yeah, we have to look at them objectively and point out that they did lots of bad things. Like they corrupted the hell out of the country. The lesson here is there really a lesson? I just wanted to defame Habibie. I was just pissed off of all these Instagram posts. If you hear this and you still like Habibie, then it's up to you. I just want you to at least know and at least have an inkling of an idea of what he did. If you don't like Jokowi, then you shouldn't like Habibie, really. Which one did more corruption? Probably Habibie. He was vice president of Suharto, and you know what? Maybe Jokowi. Which one corrupted more? It's a contest to see who can corrupt more. Which is true, actually, because the state is an apparatus to extract money of the people, and whoever can do the most will stand to benefit the most and gain more power and stability in the future. It's like that everywhere, not just in Indonesia, indeed. It's a dog-eat-dog world in a certain sense, isn't it? Can you blame them for doing that? If you were chosen as a successor of Suharto, would you say no? And people who say that Habibie should have just stayed in Germany doing the planes. If it's because of money, then hell no. He was very rich when he was here. If it was just to bake planes, then he did not succeed in building an industry in Indonesia. So I guess he should have just stayed there in a certain sense. But he was very rich and his children were very rich. So, but I think purpose wins over money. Money is important, but purpose is the guiding way to use that money and to get the money. It kind of steers your life off course if you don't have the purpose thing ingrained in you and guiding you. I would say Habibie needs faith, but he was famous for being Muslim. He still needs faith. We all need faith, yeah? Habibie needs faith. He needed faith. He's passed away now. Okay, whatever. Bye bye.